Hello everybody and welcome to round 10 for the open section and round 8 for the under 20 section of the CHESSA Online Olympiad Selection Tournament. And well, this is a great tournament so far. I've been having loads of fun spectating. I don't know if all the results are in yet from the previous round. Some games have been played even for other rounds already. That's actually quite cool. That's confusing also. So, I mean, Enachi has played against Takia already for round 10. So, I'm guessing they're allowing players to play at their own pace now as well. So it's going to make spectating the event more tricky. Sneaky Weasel, Blackjack Revolution, Kenny Willenberg, they're looking to start. And Mr. Doogie, well, actually just inboxed me to say who he was. Just check, it's Heinku. Okay, Heinku Duplessis. And they've gone down theory here. Grandmaster versus, well, actually a very... Heinku's probably one of the best prepared players in the country. Definitely loads of interesting lines that he can come up with. In on the 20 section, Banele is now, I think, clearly in the lead with 6. Well, they haven't updated till round 7 yet, but Keith drew. So it's the first game he has not managed to win a game. First time. And we have Michael versus the Crazy Castle over here. Vusi Musi and Chess King Mark. Mark now with his first game of the day. I'm not sure why the previous game wasn't played. I suspect some players withdraw and or ask to have their rounds played on different times. This is the game the Wolf drew. And okay, still waiting for some games. Kika Nagalis versus Banele in this game. Should also be a good game. If anyone can take down Banele, it can probably be Keegan. So, Michael Simpson and the Crazy Castle over here. So let's just see what Matt Pon ended up losing against Takia. And that's pretty crazy, right? He doesn't really go down that often. I think maybe... Yeah, no, I cannot tell you what... Oh, Knight B2 is about trading down queens. But it blundered mate. Check. And what's the issue with taking the rook? Somebody please explain what's wrong with rook. I'm seeing rook d1 check, but knight takes and the queen goes. I think Matt just thought his king was safe and got mated. Wow. Do not always see Matt going down. And Matt and Steenkamp are in the game. That's strange because I thought Steenkamp had a bye now. But in any case. Oh, why am I saying this is round 10 and round 8? This should be round 11 and round 9 for the respective sections. Round 11. No, round 10. This is round 10. Okay, I'm just confused this can be. So some players are making up for games. They're still going to play and stuff like that. I think some people are busy today, so they've arranged with their opponents to play the games before the rounds and stuff like that. So the results aren't in, so it's difficult to say who's winning and what's going on. But the games are being played, so in terms of that, it's still very fun just to spectate. So Kenny Solomon is not having a good tournament. I think Heinku took some time for bishop c5. instead of capturing or anything, keeping that tension. And it's saying you need to capture and disrupt your own pawn structure if you want to do anything. In any case, I have this nightmare that I'm recording with the sound off, so I'm just checking the sound every now and again. Okay, so Kenny just castled, and it says he's okay with leaving all of this over here. This is going to be a super aggressive game. We might see stuff like Rook G1, H4, H5, maybe just H4, H5 to begin with. Knight goes here, and then we might be happy to trade, play Knight G4, because there's always this bishop queen coordination after this trade. H takes, queen can try and take here as well. Heinke goes for it immediately, knows f takes isn't possible, and I'm expecting h5 now. Liking Heinke's position more, and okay, let's see Supremacy Blitz and Marcia. Still a relatively quiet game. Peaceful Warrior. I'm not on his TV, that's probably my mistake. I think it's not in a pairing. Steenkamp, Nachi. Nachi probably went for his French. Okay. It's something that at least looks a bit like a French. This game still needs some character before I could say who's better or not. Blackjack Revolution gone for Perk. Kenny Willenberg against the sneaky Weasel. Moves Rook D8 to defend the D6 pawn. This move might help him later on in the game. When this rook doubles and there's a trade, at least you're in time to defend the D6 pawn. Wasn't easy. Doogie. Heinke, this is the game. I think that's going to be the most interesting this round. With Heinke usually having good opening prep, already looking to play aggressively against this king, this knight. So I'm guessing it's between a knight G4 for him. Start coordinating over here. And threaten queen here. And between H4 to threaten H5 to threaten H4, and I'm thinking you could even be happy with just the sack exchange in this type of position. Although Kenny is the type of player to take your material and just run away with it. Okay, so Craig, I think he's in the game. Lupus for men is Charles de Villiers with the black pieces playing against Roland Besaidenout. And Charles with a slightly cramped position, I think getting a knight to d5 or piece on this square I think he's actually quite okay. No, I don't think this is very bad for him. And Supremacy Blitz and Messiah, we did check that game just now. Let's go to the under 20 section. Crazy Castle and Mr. Simpson. This game. Michael. Also, did he go for Dutch? Yeah, he originally didn't go for Dutch, but it got converted into something like that. And I like the fact that the bishop's on e7. It's been tricky with the pawn on g6, the bishop on g7. Sometimes there's just too many holes along the position and along this diagonal. So, like black slightly more over here. He's got the more aggressive side. And possibly f4 is looming. Mark against Vusi. So, Vusi is up a pawn. Yet again, this is just such a tricky position to evaluate. Glad I'm not playing it. Vusi's gone queenside. And Mark's rooks aren't exactly where you want them to be. So, probably white is better. Stuff like a knight f4 is actually tricky to deal with. You can't go knight takes, because the pawn takes, and then suddenly the g file opens up. So, that's why I prefer black here. Okay, Mark having a tough time. Trophy Master not in a game. The Wolf against Mr. Drypen. Drypen. I can't remember who Drypen is now. Drypen. Maneuvering that knight to get in f4. And has taken with the g pawn. So the king might be slightly exposed. But then again, he's got this nice pawn center. Kanya and Pandabird. It's like Kanya's just blitzing out his games. Every time I get to his game, the game is already over. And in this case, he's already up a pawn. What happened in the game? It seems like a lot of players are in the Sicilian. They kind of just well, the players are pretty happy giving up their light squared bishops for a knight. And is Kanya being tricky over here? What's the deal? What? Kanya blundered rook e4, sent to take back, and Pandabird was nice enough to give it back. Don't think that was his intention. But he's going to have to make a move very similar to this, I guess, to show us what his intentions were. I mean, I don't know how Chess South Africa is dealing with this, but take back shouldn't really exist. I mean, give the players the option to put move confirmation on, but if it was a mouse slip, then it doesn't make sense that yeah, he really needs to show us what his plans are over here to prove that it's a mouse slip. If it was going to rook d3 or something, it would make sense. Or even, I don't know, I mean, other moves are quite far away, but rook d4, isn't that just the blunder? And in that case, you are blitzing out this game. Shouldn't you be punished for a blunder? If your opponent manages to blitz it out against you. So Kanya's having a big think over here. I mean, rook d3. His position is fine, I guess. He's scared of something like takes, queen takes or something, and this knight fork on c5. Stuff like queen c4 and I don't know. He's still winning. Rook d3 is fine. Taking this long, I think, I don't like it. If you mouse slipped, you'd have moved the move you wanted to make, right? But if you blundered, I mean, it's a blunder then. You can't. I mean, then you blundered. It's like trying. Well done to Panda Bird for being the gentleman and accepting the take back. I mean, we want to play the highest quality chess, but I mean, if it was all about that as well, I think the moves would have been coming in a bit slower. So this game has got that element of blitz and Kanya being psychologically overwhelming by blitzing out his opening preparation and stuff like that. But if he's going to continue playing like that throughout the position, then I don't know, you should be punished for blunder. Poor Panda Bird. Yeah, because I think maybe I didn't stress this point, but Kanya, even if he did intend Rook d3, Knight f3, I guess. Knight, that's not f3, that's f4. Knight f4 hitting the rook, and I'm not sure what happens after that, but it feels like you're pretty close to sacrificing and opening up this diagonal. So I think Rook d3 and Knight f4, moving the rook or something. Okay, so you can make another blunder. You can go Rook d2 after that, and then you'd walk into Bishop takes, Rook takes, and Queen check back here. So there are these positions where there may be threats of a back rank because of a trade on e4. That's just kind of a dream scenario for black, though. It's not necessarily going to happen. But Kanya's really thinking long now. It's he's going for an aggressive option. His point is that if bishop takes, I think he's just going to play rook takes, and then suddenly the entire e-file is collapsing. So this is weird to me, because he was definitely moving his rook in this direction before he sent the take back, or when his rook ended up over here. So a rook moving this way could have maybe been considered, okay, well, mouse slip, granted. I'll give you a take back, and unless this game isn't part of the tournament, but I don't think so. This is, let's just see, this is now round 9, and but the pairings are making me confused. You guys can see round 9. Supposed to start at 10. Sorry, round 8. Yeah. Kanya Panda Bird. Well, there you have it. This is for the tournament. Okay, how does Panda Bird deal with this? You can't go bishop takes knight. That's definitely not something you can do. Meanwhile, Kanya also wants to apply more pressure on f6. So, I mean, like rook e8. Does knight takes exist? I don't think so. You've got a rook takes, and you're defending this bishop again. So rook e8. Okay. And maybe now you've just renewed your threat of doing this, because there's no longer rook takes e6. So definitely bishop takes on e4 is possible, and seems quite good now. So we'll get back to that game in a second. It just made me stop there because of the whole take back moment. Keegan Nogales, this guy always plays interesting chess. And Banele Mshangu's undefeated. Going for a clear first prize over here. But this is also looking promising for him. But Keegan, this guy is resourceful as can come. So resourceful. In this case, he's given up the exchange. He's got this. He's got maybe you can momentarily this bishop might be better than this rook or something. So he's got a bit of a center for it as well, an extra pawn, but unfortunately it's doubled. So there's one guy that can take down Banele. It's going to be now. Still waiting for the pairings between the Wolf, Banele, and Kanya. Those will be the big games deciding the tournament. Okay, so let's jump back to the open section. Masia versus Supremacy. And Supremacy, this is the second time now I've seen him do this. It's as if he's playing with the black pieces. With two nice rooks here, going to apply even more pressure on these pawns. And this seems to have been working out for him really well. I like his style. I think Masia is having a tough time. Also expect bishop d3 at some point. Supremacy likes the black structure, or the structures you get as black, and he's developed ways to get it as white. I think his opening choice therefore is the English. Yep. Okay. And an important insertion over there. Queen to c2, so that you're able to take with your queen and keep the file open. If you take with a pawn, then you're just keeping the pawn structures symmetrical. So, and then only after a while does he open up the b file, and that's how he gets this structure that looks like this. I really like it a lot. Warrior is not playing Steenkamp. Nice. You're supposed to be aggressive against Matt Pon. You can't give him too much. You have to fight back. And in this case, putting a knight on f5. I don't know how many players have managed to do that against Matt, but a knight on f5 is just a beautiful piece. And well, Matt has got some queen side activity possibilities, something like this. I'm rooting for Steenkamp in this game. Usually a Matt fan, but Matt has got to go down in a beautifully played game. I feel he went down against. I mean, Matt is struggling also, but he went down against the other guy in the previous game because of more like a blunder, and then against Kenny Solomon he went down. Just a terrible game. Well, I mean, a great game for him, but a terrible game for him as well. The ending, not converting that position, and that game is definitely going to be featured on my channel as analysis or whatever. So look out for it. It's going to be a fun game. Let's continue. The Sneaky Weasel versus Blackjack Revolution. Kenny Willenberg. And Willenberg was threatening c4 a moment before. Well, he kind of traded into this. Yeah, when Willenberg went b5, I guess you need to calculate all of this. So you need to calculate what happens if it takes now, stuff like that. I don't think that's good. You lose a piece, so you can't. So that's easy to calculate. You need to recapture. So going into the line, you can at least get to this point and realize, okay, you're losing a pawn. So what are my other options over here? He played the perk. Maybe this right here was a point to do something else. Just some calculation would have been required. In any case, he's not having a fun tournament generally, but he just beat Kenny Solomon, so maybe he doesn't care too much for the rest of the results anymore. He had a great game. Kenny Solomon against Heinku, and I said this would be the exciting game of the round. But maybe, well, how quickly did Kenny sort all of this nonsense out? Look at this. H5 and just knight e4, ignoring most of the threats. So Kenny Solomon making us aware that before h5 should have been tried, something like a6 to be able to back up this bishop along the diagonal would have been necessary. Because it's only this bishop helping with the attack. So now after bishop b5, the attack doesn't make too much sense. And here I was really expecting Heinke to maybe sack the exchange, but apparently there's not enough compensation, and he's okay with having the h-file. Knight in the center. He's down a pawn, not too bad. A bishop on g2 is actually very tricky to make an attack now on the king, because imagine this check with your queen, king here. I mean, what do you do then? You want to try and sack, obviously, your queen for mate, but trust me, 90% of the time it doesn't work. And meanwhile, look at these knights. They are definitely coordinating better than Black's knights. Black's knights aren't doing teamwork like on the d6 square. They've got a bigger scope though, around most of the center. Okay, sorry. I don't know how to evaluate knights like these. Knights like these. Sounds like a pop song. They all look very good to me, and very complicated to calculate around them. I'm expecting some tactics because of these knights. If this knight moves to d4, we'll have 4 knights in the center. But there's a lot of central occupation by these pieces. The bishop on b4 isn't doing the same work it did along this diagonal, but it's still on such a great square. Only you can get it to move like that, you'd be so happy. Okay, Roland, well, this side of the board is Charles de Villiers. He had this very weird looking d6 pawn, and I said, you know what, I don't think it's too bad for him. And this is the position we are at. Roland has made the position worse for Mr. Charles, who just took down Steenkamp in a great king pawn and rook pawn ending. Michael going down against Crazy Castle. Haven't seen Crazy Castle play two great games recently, but this seems very promising. Where did Michael lose his piece? He's got the same amount of pieces here. Okay. This is where he lost the piece. The knight escaped. And also bad time situation. Trying to make a position work tactically is not always that easy. And just, I think, a7, rook here. rook here and resigns. King back. Rook b7. Threatening bishop, threatening b8. And that should be all she wrote. We'll see the last moments of this game. Okay, no. Let's be careful. You need to really convert a game. Okay, this should be enough. Okay. When the queen's not coming with check, I'm imagining a situation like something like this. The guy... okay, that doesn't even work. But let's imagine something like this. Rook here. Bishop here, rook here. I mean, this square is also still open for the king. Maybe, I was thinking there's maybe a small chance for back rank. Something, but white will be winning this. I highly doubt it will be different. Reigi, okay, so Mark, is Mark even playing games today? What is happening? Did he finish his game? Against Vusi, he played and lost. Okay, so I think he's a bit frustrated. He's getting in the blitz games to get warmed up. But Vusi took Mark down, and yeah, kind of felt that Mark's knights weren't right for the position, and that is all she wrote. Paul Gluckman and Trophy Master. Feels like they started their game a bit late. I mean, the other games are finishing up and they're only starting, so you can kind of see it on the clock. Unless, no, they just started recently. So starting a bit late with the Sicilian, and Paul Gluckman, I don't know. He's not getting the results so far in this tournament. A really strong player, but not getting the results. Keith has won against Drypen, and we left the position. I don't know. Oh, I was saying how I like the pawn on e4, and round about here, Drypen went for the two pieces, but actually just managed to trade down. But Keith was fine with this and remaneuvered his knight. And suddenly had play on the b file and queen side of the board, a lot of space to work with, and that knight did not go down. And a move like bishop d4, when you see it, yeah, you want to, yeah. You don't think your position is bad until you see a move like bishop d4 played against you. You take the bishop, king takes. Wait, what's wrong with taking the bishop and going queen here? I guess the endgame is also just pretty bad for you. I don't know what's wrong with that. A rook e8 needs to be played, but bishop takes. Oh, queen takes f8 is mate in any case. Sorry, I'm not awake yet. Rook e8 needs to be played, and then something like c5. But white is still vastly better. But bishop here and e6, and this was mate in any case. So well done to Keith. Kanya and Pandabird, the game with the take back. What has Kanya managed to do? Okay, so we left after we saw rook d6, rook e8. This is when we left. Kanya doubled over here. That was a shutdown. And there was a trade. Queen a5, queen takes pawn on the side of the board. And this queen ran back. And this is now where we are at. Pandabird, bishop versus knight. I think Pandabird should be happy if he can get the queens off of the board. And that just seems like Kanya Mazibuko's biggest asset at the moment, and especially because of that, let's say h5 advance, And queen and knight over here on the king's side, coordinating. You don't want them doing too much, so if you can get the queen off, the knight doesn't feel too strong anymore. But together with the queen, it's worth more. So that's just my evaluation. I think black's fine. Panda Bird, a real gentleman. And that's why black's going for the queen trade. I expected he might do something like this. This queen trade. So black now has the option to double black's pawns. So you can have queen takes, pawn takes, and then h takes, pawn takes, and we've got these two double pawns in black's camp. But it feels pretty holdable. White maybe slightly better. Very equal. Panda Bird, a good choice over here. I don't like the feeling of letting Kanya play with these three against my king, but Kanya is the type of player not to even go for this, I guess. Yeah, he moves the queen. He likes the tension. In fact, can't you take... You can technically take the pawn. Knight takes comes with check, but just queen takes, obviously. But one of the nice things is that knight is going to be pinned for a while. So, take with the pawn and yeah, push h4. Panda Bird would be happy if he manages to convert. I'm guessing the whole take-back situation. True gentleman of the sport to allow him to have that take-back, but then seeing maybe that the take-back wasn't for purposes of a mouse slip or anything, just a blunder. So, okay, what else is happening? Banele, I was saying this is his toughest game of the tournament, but he's already +4. And Keegan, this guy's just resourceful, so we left the game roundabout here. Yeah, this is where we left. Banele's knights running around the board, picking up pawns, and Keegan loses another piece. You can't go rook takes knight because of mate. And this is a super awkward position for Gallus. Still can't go rook takes e8. You can't move your rook from the f file. That's just mate. The knight is hooking the rook, and ooh, that's just mate. Why this knight? Oh, Banele. Undefeated. That's why this rook moved. Not for the pawn. Yep. Okay, perfect score. Perfect score. And moving your bishop. Oh, okay. To stop this threat, we're gonna get knight here, I presume. Kanya with 11 seconds. It's going to be a clock swindle. Going to show his opponent he's low on time, but still going to be in perfect control of those last seconds. Bishop g4. Bishop g4. This should be crushing. There we go. Bishop g4. And suddenly Kanya's going down. Panda Bird 1. Skewering the queen rook. And expected actually his opponent to do something like this, but actually queen takes. Why do you need to settle for bishop takes? Queen takes. And that's game over. Oh no, wait. Queen takes, queen here maybe. So bishop takes stops that. Still has the skewer. So Kanya will be playing down the rook. He's not threatening anything, you can take the rook, I guess. And white resigns. What a game by Panda Bird. And I think his best choice over here was positionally to go queen g5. Knowing that Kanya's really, he just wants to keep the queens on. He's okay it's okay to give up a pawn to keep the queens on, and suddenly the initiative just slipped from his hands. Blunders bishop g4, and actually this knight takes was also really unnecessary. I think trying to play like this would have been Kanya's best option. Okay, what else is happening? Banele won. The Wolf won. Paul and the Trophy Master, they started slightly late, so I'll see if I have enough energy to finish their game. Vusi won against Mark. And the Crazy Castle did end up beating Michael. Just simply bishop b2, and this is not a nice move to see. Actually threatening mate in one. And king needs to move. Rook can take in any case. Bishop can check. That's actually, I think, mate is unstoppable here. If king tries to run check, king there, and then this beautiful mate, bishop f7 mate. Not even going for the queen idea, going for a full-on mate idea. So rook g7 is necessary, but you can simply make a queen. Queen can be taken, and you can go back for that idea. By the way, rook takes g7 isn't mate immediately. King h8, and you just move the rook away. And both these bishops are slicing through at the king. Very, very nice game. Again, Supremacy Blitz lost against Masia. Supremacy Blitz somewhere lost the piece. And I really liked the Supremacy Blitz's position, playing as if from the black side of the board. And Masia somehow just got active after knight e6. This is kind of where we left the game. Rook d5, and I think Supremacy was too fancy. Oh, there's the blunder. Sometimes you forget about the rook on h5. It's not a usual square for it to be. Yeah, here's a blunder. Goes down a piece, and Masia finds a forcing line to trade down. Actually, that's a nice line Masia found there. And boxes the king, gets the other rook off. And this is just completely winning, nothing to do for white. Steenkamp. Nachi Steenkamp took down Matt Pawn. Well done to him. I was saying that knight on f5 looks very good, and I was saying it around about, yeah, the knight came just when the knight came to f5. I was saying Matt would try and play on the queen side, but very nice idea to go f4 as well. And ooh, goes for this complication. You can't go bishop takes. That removes the defender. King needs to move, and only then queen trades. And suddenly Steenkamp was up a pawn, wins another pawn, and just really he walked over Matt Pawn. He really just trampled him in this position. What a great game. Rook takes, final move of the game. If rook takes, then rook f8. And you're just losing so much more material. In any case, that's going to be around... Wait, let's just check that I'm not missing anything else. Oh, so Kenny Willenberg won against the Sneaky Weasel. Kenny Willenberg, this was actually funny. Don't know how he managed this. Okay, so an intermezzo trade with the move c4. Nice. And I was saying he did not coordinate on the queen side. He did not calculate losing the pawn. Oh. Okay. The Sneaky Weasel kept on fighting. But eventually, I guess, queen was just too much. Nice game. And Kenny Solomon wins in the game I thought would be the most exciting. But I think it's got a lot to do, let's open the analysis board. I think it's got a lot to do with the fact that the bishop on c5 it wasn't glued into this diagonal earlier on with something like a6. So, I mean, at this point, the computer is suggesting a5. A6 is probably okay. This is actually theory, by the way. This game has been played before in 2004. h5 was the move, and a5 immediately. That would have been the best response, making sure this bishop goes nowhere. In any case, yeah, what's so bad? I'm guessing a5 is just more accurate. So let's say e3. Oh, then e3 is the idea to keep this bishop out. So, okay, maybe Kenny's prep was just deeper than his opponent's. I'm guessing that. And Craig, Holy Cornholio, took down Charles de Villiers. And that is Roland Besaidenote playing against this d6 disadvantage for black. And Charles resigned in this position. Don't think you're stopping this idea. I don't know. Queen f8. I'm missing something else. It's completely drawn, by the way. Time out. Charles went down on the clock. Okay. The position is completely fine. The computer even suggests f5. What a move. If f takes, then knight f7. So f5 just clears the way for this knight. And then, I don't know, you're attacking the bishop. So the queen needs to go to h4. And then you can trade. That's such a nice thing to notice. And then bishop takes e3. Yo, okay, I like the way the computer plays. There's no mate threat even, so knight takes, queen takes, and rook c1. Playing well for both sides, queen g7. And apparently the game's just drawn. Okay, crazy. Crazy Castle, Vusi, Paul Gluckman and Trophy Master are still playing, but I am going to end the round for now. It looks like Trophy Master will be winning. Paul is not finding his rhythm. Playing against the rook is incredibly difficult, especially when you're trying to do it with an inferior minor piece. So I'm giving this one to Trophy Master. And I'll be back for round 11. No, this was round 11. No, why am I so confused? This was round 9 and round 11. But some of the pairings aren't as I expected them to be. Yeah, I'm just confused as hell. This was supposed to be round 10. Yeah, round 10 and round 8. Round 10 for the open section and round 8 for the under 20 section. Okay, so I'll see you guys for round 11 and round 9. In any case, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. And I'll see you guys soon. Thank you.